Stowe Gardens is located in Buckingham, UK, and it's named after a small Buckinghamshire village. It was created by the Viscount Cobham from 1717. Today, it is part of the National Trust and has a Stowe school within the gardens. The gardens were built by over 30 gardeners who worked at the estate, and many of the garden designers experiment at Stowe with styles they will soon be famous for. The first garden designer, Charles Bridgman, kick-started the transformation into a formal garden. This would be one of his early works and lead him into becoming a prestigious garden designer for the royal family. In 1711, he would start the construction of houses and various walled gardens. Notable contributions are the Ha 11-acre lakes and the Wick Quarter. Then Sir John Vanbrugh took over the Stowe to lay the groundwork for the monuments, landscapes, and temples that would become the earliest phases of the garden design. He added the rotunda at Stowe, the Lake Pavilion, and the Queen Charlotte Monument. Then James Gibbs made most of the large buildings. These include the Boycott Pavilion, the Fang Pastoral Poetry, the Palladian Bridge, the Temple of Friendship, and the Queen's Temple. Lastly, William Kent was a garden designer in 1730 to 1748. He pioneered a new and more informal style of landscape gardening that took hold in the 1730s. Kent formed landscapes used to entertain, show off, and most of all, impress. Between 1730 and 1748, he worked on areas both inside and out the main house as a commissioned designer. He would create the Temple of Venus and the Hermitage, the Temple of Ancient Virtue, the Temple of British Worthy, the Shell Bridge, the Grotto, and the Pebble a Clove. The Temple of Venus was completed in 1731 and looks across the 11-acre lakes towards the Stowe house. It's dedicated to the goddess of sex and gardening. There are 4 busts overlooking this 11-acre lake representing Cleopatra, Faustina, Nero, and Vespasian, all known for their appetite for lust. The Temple of Ancient Virtues, among Kent's first additions to the area known as the Elysian Fields, was the Temple of Ancient Virtues. Designed in 1734 and completed in 1737, the round domed temple serves as the imposing focal point of the area. The temple honors the 4 Greek men, Socrates, Lycurgus, Homer, and Epaminondas. This shows the importance of ancient Greek philosophers and poets at the time. The Temple of British Worthiness was created at the same time as the Temple of Ancient Virtue. It sits on the opposite side of the river and features 16 busts. To the left is Alexander Pope, who is a poet of the Enlightenment, Sir Thomas Gershman, a merchant, John Milton, a poet and civil servant, William Shakespeare, John Locke, Sir Isaac Newton, and Francis Bacon were all famous for their thoughts and ideas. Here we see the importance of philosophy, economy, the Enlightenment, literature, poetry during the 18th century. To the right of the temples is Sir John Barnard, a merchant and politician, King William III, Queen Elizabeth I, Prince Edward, and King Alfred, all known for their actions. These displayed the importance of war, exploration, colonialism, nationalism, and politics at the time. The Hermitage sits on the edge of the 11-acre lake with a view of the rotunda on the opposite side. Built in a more rugged style compared to William Kent's other temples, with its roughly cut stones and dilapidated turrets, it is an early example of how a garden folly is deliberately built as a ruin. The Hermitage in early Christianity was a place where religious men lived on their own to escape the temptations of the world. But in the 19th century landscape gardens, the Hermitage was a retreat for its aristocratic owners to take rest on their walks. Next is the Chinese house. It dates around 1738, and the pavilion originally stood on the stills of the middle of the pond near the Elysian Fields. Then it was moved to different countries and places, but was eventually fundraised and restored to its original place. This reveals the exposure to the architecture in China and later India, and destroyed any ideas that there is only one correct manner of building a palladium. This also shows the rise of new and exotic buildings in the English landscape gardens.